So it became problematic. It wasn't at first, but she decided she would use it against you. What about school? Has it been a problem at all with the kids and their schooling?
Not at all. And I really acted proactively with that. I showed up that first PTO meeting when my daughter started kindergarten, and I gave my business card that had Joy Burton, Living Earth, everything that you see on the website here was right there on my business card. And I handed it out, and I volunteered. And now I chair an auction that raises $20,000 to $30,000 a year. And when you do good works in the community, it doesn't matter what your religion is. If you show up and you participate,
I don't know about that.
I have found that it's not a problem. When it was time
I think it's the money. I think because she raises money, that's not a problem.
Well, at Yule, in my daughter's kindergarten class last year, they had asked me if any parent had something from their faith tradition to share for the winter holidays. And I put together a whole packet. I volunteered to run the winter holiday party, and winter solstice was right in there with Christmas and Kwanzaa and Diwali.
Wow.
And winter solstice was right in there. And
that's nice.
And it was not a problem.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
I'm impressed.
You're also a mom, Loretta.
Yeah.
Is there?
I'm a grandmom.
You're a grandmom now.
I'm a grandmom.
Wow.
Yeah.
You raised 3 kids along the way.
Yeah. Only one of them actively participated in the religion, although all of them attended various open events. And we are also a dual religion family. So, yeah. And it has been challenging. It has been challenging, especially, when your toddler starts casting circles in the living room.
Or getting naked, when you're out in the
yeah,
store.
Yeah,
Jackie, you were there for that when we had a meeting the other day.
We had a meeting at a McDonald's so the kids could play at the Play Center while we were talking about what we were going to talk about on the show tonight. So your youngest daughter, the one of the twins, she said, "I'm hot." She took off her shirt, So Mom had to do a little instant education about, no, we can do that at home. That's not what we do in public places.
But I think that's typical of pretty much any toddler. I don't think
Not
it's
just
too
pagans.
unusual to have that happen.
No, I think that's fairly common. And they're not toddlers.
Now they just turned 4.
They just turned 4.
And they're so tiny. I think of them as being littler than they are. They're growing bigger every day.
How about the kids' friends? Has it been a problem with any of the friends or the friends' parents?
No, I'm pretty open, and I feel very blessed that I live in a wonderful community where my neighbors are just great, open, really nice people. And I don't feel like I've had to really hide anything. They've come over, they see what I have in my house, they know what I do with running Living Earth, and it's just not really been an issue. The only time it's ever been an issue is with my stepson. He came on home one day with a Book of Mormon from one of his friends who decided to share that with him. So I sent home with him a copy of Scott Cunningham's guide, Wicca, a guide for the solitary practitioner. And it was a wonderful exchange of information about religions, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
And let's just say the Book of Mormon went back. My Cunningham book came home, and it was never an issue ever again. But
how has the pagan community related to you as a wife, a mother, monogamous? We talked about the 3 M's. Being in a more traditional monogamous relationship, being a wife and mother. How have people in the pagan community reacted to that?
In some days it's quite surreal because there is so much diversity in our community. In a way, I feel very much like a minority. However, there are a lot of other people like me. There's a lot of people out there like you and you. Once we start finding each other and have a building and growing community, we do find people who are similar to us, and we also get to experience people that are different from us as well. I feel like in the pagan community, we do need to have more support for families and for children and for being married. I think in any faith community, raising kids and being married is hard. It's tough, and I would love to see support out there, whether it's in a support group or discussion groups, for people who are in a circumstance similar to my own. I'd love to see that happen for all the different subgroups within our community.
I think you actually seem to be in an enviable position, because I know of pagan parents, and you do too, I'm sure, Jackie, whose, your last question, whose children have come out and lost friends. You know, their parents have said, that's it, you're not hanging out with this person again ever. And it just, I mean, these were BFFs, and it broke their hearts.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm open from the very beginning with this. I have nothing to hide. My kids have nothing to hide. And we're very relaxed and low-key. And I think also having a husband who is not religious at all, and that I spent many years as an atheist myself. I'm not someone who very much fixates on my spiritual path. I'm capable of, and I enjoy having friends outside my spiritual community. So I can move between communities fairly easily. And I think that's an important thing to do when you are out there in, at the PTA meetings, or dealing with your neighbors and building friendships and relationships in your neighborhood.
I think this is great. I think because I've really seen a change in the last 35 years. 35 years ago, it was more difficult to be out of the broom closet, and there were more repercussions. There are still sometimes repercussions nowadays, but far less. Those of us who have worked in the areas of religious tolerance and understanding and pagan religious rights, we've produced some results, and I'm very pleased to find out that things are getting better. So we wanted to end this segment talking about some resources that are available overall, books, games, websites, things of this sort. And our wonderful producer, Jacques, has put together a list of some books that are available on pagan parenting, things like Pagan Parenting, Raising Witches and Family Wicca, Growing Up Pagan, My First Little Workbook of Wicca, Magic Crafts, and the Small Town Pagan Survival Guide. That's an interesting book for those who really still live in places where that tolerance has not caught up yet. And then there's 3 books that are about raising a psychic child, a sensitive child. There's Someone Under the Bed, Children's Experiences with the Paranormal, Raising Intuitive Children, and there's Starhawk's wonderful tale, The Last Wild Witch. There are also a couple of pagan coloring books out, but I wasn't able to get the names of them in time to get them listed up here. Would you add anything to that?
When is Joy's book coming out?
That's on the list of things to do.
I know it is. Why I asked.
Not that I have a great body of knowledge to share, but I think I've been through quite a few experiences and coming out on the other side. And what I've learned as a pagan mom, someday I'll get that written down. But there's a couple really good books out there. Let's see. There's one book called What Is Love. I was able to get a used copy of it online. I don't even know if it's out there now. Let's see. Put me on the spot like this. Let's see. When the Root Children Wake Up is a book that was given to me by a good friend of mine, and it's one of the kids' very favorite books that talks all about, Aunt Spring and Cousin Autumn and things like that, and beautiful illustrations as well.
There's Spiral Scouts in some places. We don't have an active Spiral Scout group here at the moment, but there have been some in the past. And for those of you with children who would enjoy the Boy Scout, Girl Scout experience, but don't want to deal with the requirement to have certain beliefs, or perhaps you're gay and lesbian parents and they're not accepting of that either, There is Spiral Scouts, which was set up to do many of the same things with children's activities that those other groups do. Anything else we want to mention at this point?
No, that was great. We actually had somebody Skype in and say, wonderful interview, Joy. Thank you so much for your presentation. So
Thank you.
There's been a whole ongoing conversation going on online with people emailing back and forth during our program, which is great. We hope to get
more
of that going on, more people Skyping in, more people sending us clips, video clips.
money.
Money is good, too, yeah.
Just, one thing I would like to add, if anyone is in the Denver area, particularly the South Denver area, and is interested in being a part of a multi-generational, welcoming, and open pagan community that has open rituals, livingearthcolorado.org is our main informational website. We're looking forward to opening up an in-town and in Denver community center for all to use, because we have grown to the point where we really do need our own brick and mortar facility, in addition to the land that we have called Earth Haven.
And that seems to be a fairly common thread. I mean, Katra was just talking about that in San Antonio.
Oh,
the same thing.
we've been talking
Shared
about
land facility.
a community center for 30 years. But what's exciting is Joy's working on it now, which means it's actually going to happen.
Like weeks, like, within a month. I see it happening. I really, this is something that I feel like a lot of things are coming to a head about, and it's just going to be happening. It's going to be happening soon.
So, as time goes on, we will be having lots of presenters come in to talk about different community groups and different organizations and different projects they're working on. We were very pleased to have two wonderful guests tonight.
Three.
Oh, that's true. If we count our friends Skyping in from Texas. So, thank you so much for joining us. What would you like to say?
I would like to say, come join us next week. We're going to be continuing the discussion on pagan parenting with somebody who currently has teenagers. And he will be talking about the challenges of the teens from a pagan perspective and then pagan parenting a teen.